Good morning, Isaac. Good morning. Say
Good morning.
fear. I'm sorry, I don't recognize that command. Say a command. Depression. I'm sorry, I don't recognize that command. Say a command. Broken. I'm sorry you're having difficulties right now. Please try again later. Goodbye. Reset.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It is a wonderful Monday morning, and I am so excited to come and share with you. I am Dr. Dina Marie, and I'm also known affectionately as a Millennial Whisperer, but to my clients known as the Catalyst. I was just playing a miniature excerpt from Isaac Curry's Reset. And this is the time and the reason and the season for you to begin to reset and get more focused and fierce about where you're growing to. What are your visions? What are your goals? What are your aspirations? And many times we are stuck in this bubble and thinking that, we weren't successful. We're looking at all of our failures, and not our failures that we learn from, but just our failures, and use them as excuses for us not to be able to grow to our next grader. So I wanted to come and talk to you this morning about really beginning to take a different look at failure, number one. And number two is to look at the real. And real is an acronym, and I'll share with you in a moment, the real purpose of creating a vision board and what it can actually do for you when you begin to see and utilize the power of intention in your life. So let's go ahead and get started, because I won't actually be before you long. I have a wonderful Monday filled, and I thought that in getting ready for, All Hallows Eve, I'd kind of lighten you up with a little bit of blue and wear my trust me, I'm a Dr. Seuss t-shirt. And I like I said, this has been such an amazing year of trials, tribulations, and what I can tell you has been the crux and a core piece of what my testimony. And remember, I've coined the phrase testimony, meaning my destiny, or I actually more like created it. My testimony plus my testimony, and that we do have a destiny. We have a divine calling and a walk. But along that, we're going to have some trials and tribulations, which actually make up our testimony. But we need to take all those things into consideration, especially when we're thinking about where we're growing to. Like, what's our next grader, I like to say, and I like to use when I'm talking with my clients or working with a group or a team, or even giving a keynote. I love to share that and say, what is your next grader? Now, we see a lot of people going, I'm going to create a vision board. But I begin to wonder, do they really understand the purpose of a vision board? Do they understand how to create an authentic vision board so that it works for you? A vision board is not just a collection of pictures and just things of saying, well, I hope. It should actually include your action plan, and it should actually include the how you're going to get there. And it should take into consideration where you are now and where you're going to grow to. Now, some people take a vision board and they have their one for their whole entire year. Okay. And so that's like, for my year, this is where I'm going to. Oprah made it super popular. And now you see any and every star, they go to these vision board parties, which, by the way, I'm having a vision board party right now, tentatively scheduled for December 3rd, but I might have a schedule conflict that I need to verify. But it is going to be an amazing champagne brunch vision boarding party. But we're going to actually do vision boarding the dynamic way. All right. The dynamic Dina way. So I want to show you really quick, hanging out with my buddy over here, is my vision board that I actually did for last year. And so my vision board, when I created it actually in sections. And I put at the very bottom, the focus, so that I'll hold it up high that you can actually see it. It's kind of weird in the camera, is that it says vision. And when I look at this vision board, this one, although the focus was for 2017, it actually extends beyond that. And when I do vision boards, and you'll see if you come to the party, I do it on canvas boards. I don't do it on paper because you can frame it, but I need it to stay around for a long time. So just to give you a little brief synopsis on that, where did I want to grow? Where did I need to grow? And how do I want to get connected to that? So I divide my growth areas into spiritual, personal, professional, intellectual. I do that depending on what I move. So for one section, it was, I said discipleship. that was here, and that having that forever faith, and that I wanted to spend time this year really creating and growing in that space and really being on fire and running for God. And so what I did this year is that I actively got involved in a regular Bible study. I took discipleship courses 1 and 2. I began to implement those things. So it started here with the vision, knowing where I wanted to grow, but then it actually came with putting the plan in place. So that's kind of how I began to work with vision boarding, but it's a lot of thought that goes into it prior. I just don't sit down and start collecting pictures. And that when you are working and looking at creating a vision board, you need to consider, where are you growing to? What are your needs? What are your gaps? And that before you decide to take a Herculean leap, that you actually kind of simmer down a little bit and get focused on where is the most logical step. So when you're creating a vision board, I see a lot of people put huge homes on there saying, that is the home that I'm going to have. Or are you planning on having it in 2018? Or are you planning on having it in your life? So what are you planning for? Are you planning for your right now greater as you shift and move through your transition? Or are you looking and saying, once in my life, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? Because I actually set incremental goals. I have a 5-year plan, I have a 10-year plan, but also I realize that there's things that I have to do in the right now in order to get there. So what I did was create an acronym, and I'll show this a little bit to you guys later, like on my vision board. And it's one of my favorite quotes on here. And I created that as well. It says, thriving into the future. Thriving into the future. Because who wants to just be on survival mode? Too often we get stuck there and we're like, I'm just trying to survive. I'm just trying to make it. Why would that be your optimal goal? Shouldn't it be to thrive? Now, you can survive on your way to thriving, but you should never be satisfied with just being, okay? So just kind of keep that in mind. So let's talk about the real vision. All right, the R. Review. You need to review your pluses and your opportunities for growth. I don't like to use the word minuses because it has such a negative connotation. Anytime we don't succeed at something, it gives us an opportunity to grow in that space. It gives us another opportunity to take a look and see, what can I do to make a change? How can I shift this? How can I actually increase so that, it works the next time, so that I can actually innovate? We have to change the way we look at failure, because when we say failure, we begin to think that we're failures, and we're not. Just because we didn't succeed at blank doesn't mean that we are failures. It doesn't. What it means is that, I got to go back and take another look at this, and I got to figure it out. And what I always say is that I am not your ride and die chick. I'm your ride and fly chick, because I am going to figure out a way to strategize my way out of the situation and use strategies to get to the next grader. I'm not going to accept not winning and not being able to be successful. So just because I didn't get it the first time, that means I'm coming back for it again, and then again, and then again, and again, and again. And then I have to re-ante up and fix things. So I do that. But so many times we're focused in on the negative that we don't look at all our wins, all our pluses. What did work? What did I do that I'm very, not only just proud of, but I need to tell somebody because it's great. And that I need to go ahead and pop my collar and pat myself on the back and say, wow, I did this. You can do that. It's not being arrogant. It's actually celebrating your wins. And sometimes we got to celebrate those small wins, okay, until we get to our big greater. And that's the only way you're going to get to the big greater, is if you celebrate along the way. But along the way, I must be honest with you, you're going to have trials and tribulations. And that's all part of your testimony. But it's an opportunity for growth. It's how you process it. And how you process through it is what's going to define how you're going to grow to your next greater. So the R in the real vision is review. Take a real clear view and write it down. Here's my plus and minuses. You have your pros and your cons. And I used to use like a plus and a delta, because delta means change. Okay. And so here's what I liked. This worked. And here's the delta. You'll have it in there. And here's where I need to change to get to my next grader. So that's the R. All right, let's go for the E. What's the E? The E, evaluate. Evaluate. So before creating your vision board, and as you're looking at where you're going to grow to next and what do you want to do, you must have a clear stock and evaluate what worked, what needs to be cleared out, who deserves to stay in your life, And who needs to go for you to grow? That part is going to be the hardest thing for you, is deciding who needs to stay and who needs to go. Because sometimes the people that we care deeply about and that we love intently and that we become connected to for one reason or the other are the ones that are sabotaging our growth. And it may not even be intentional. It might be their placement in your life takes up too much space and you're not able to do what you need to do what God has called you to do because you're so caught up in their mess and even their success. So I truly believe in servant leadership. I do believe in supporting and giving back, all of that. But when giving back hurts, means that you use that to hide from actually operating in your divine gift and your divine calling. If that's you, then you really need to evaluate what's working, who do you need to connect to, who needs to move and shift. And I'm not saying you got to cut them off and you can't ever talk to them again, but they might need to take up less of the pie, okay, for your time, okay, and the space in your mind. Because your mindset is everything. All right. So you can download. Now, this is something that is so amazing to use. And I began to use the Declutter Your Mind guide to get me started on that road. If you want to download a free copy of the Declutter Your Mind guide, you can go to bit.ly/Focus Fierce Formula 1 and download the Declutter Your Mind guide to kind of get started on this process. So people usually start getting ready for New Year's resolutions and all of that. But do you want transformation or do you want temporary change? So you need to start kind of planning now. And why are you waiting till December 31st or that week or the first week in January to start setting your goals for 2018? That's already too late. So right now you should be evaluating I'm going to create a vision board. Here's what I want to go on this vision board. Here's the best thing. So this is now. This is your time to start putting all that together. Okay? Can you do that? All right. So evaluation is really, really important. What is our next? All right. Now, I know it's early morning. This was an impromptu Facebook Live or Be Live. But what I would love for you to do is that let me know if you have any questions. Please drop by the chat box and pop your name. Where are you from? Who are you? Let me know, that you're there. And if you have some ideas or you want to weigh in and you have some tips that you want to give people too, please do. Please do. This is our space to help people grow. Again, I have one job: inspire, empower, and to transform lives. And that's what I plan to do every single day. But even I must get very clear and focused and fierce about making that happen for me in my life, because I'm called to do something. And now it's time to really level up and take charge and do that. Okay. So our next, okay. So we have the R. We're going to review what were our pluses, what were our opportunities for growth. And then we begin to evaluate what worked, what didn't work, what do we need to clear out, who might we need to clear out, what change do we need to make as far as our tribe even is concerned, but even our locations, our situations, our placements, what needs to shift. We're taking evaluation, okay? Evaluating, because the next thing we need to do is to assess your current ability, your gifts, your levels of understanding with a clear and honest lens. You're going to have to take an assessment and really do a self-check, a reality check for you. What are your strengths, your personal strengths? What are your personal weaknesses and areas that you know that they need to grow and you need some help in? And you're going to say, I don't really understand this. Then you're going to make that part of your vision board, your plan. How are you going to get to a greater understanding, especially if it's in an area to which you're trying to grow to? For instance, if you want to be a realtor, you want to get into real estate, really hot space right now, hot space. So do you know about real estate licensing? Do you have a background in, property man? What is your knowledge and gifts and abilities? And if you don't, what is your plan to gain that knowledge? So you have to take an assessment to know where you're at. So you know where to enter the market. You know where to enter the situation and enter the place. Okay. So that assessment is really clear, and you have to be honest. This is for you. This is not for anybody else. And one of the things that I use, one of the tools, is I love to write. I use a journal. And this particular journal is one of my favorites. It says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. The plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." Jeremiah 29:11. That's my favorite, one of my favorite scriptures that I've just been marinating on, because sometimes I just feel like there's so much going on in my head and that it gets so cluttered, which is why I wanted to share the Declutter Your Mind Guide with you all. But also, I just realized that sometimes you need to step back and realize you're not in it alone. And you need to assess, though, realistically, who or what you need to grow. Do you need to get a mentor? Do you need to hire a coach? Do you need to get into a group? What is it? And whatever it is, begin to make a plan to actually acquire it so that you can grow. So that's that real part of really creating your vision and your vision board, is that it's not just pretty pictures and papers and saying, oh, you know what, I want these little skinny legs and that I just want to travel around the world. But what are you doing to get there? That should be part of that vision board. That should be somehow incorporated, because that vision board helps you manifest. It's part of the manifestation piece. So if you're just having pipe dreams and hope for and I wish a, but you don't really have an action plan that you're going to put with it or see a path to that, then that's going to be a problem. All your vision board is going to be is a collage of pictures. And the pictures that you're picking and the images that you're creating and how you're organizing it, are you thinking about it? Is it a pattern? All of that goes into it. So sometimes people don't tell you that. They just have you, they put you in a room, they give you lots of papers, they say, okay, cut it all out, and they don't give you that guidance piece. But I like to do, when I do vision boarding clinics or I do a vision boarding workshop or I get with kids, or when I do it as a mentorship group, I always start with, let's do here. Let's work with the mind piece. It is not just saying, wow, I like that, and I'm gluing it on to this board. It's like, no, what role does it have? What place? So that assessment is really key. What do you have now? What do you need? How do you plan on getting it so that you can see that and begin to manifest that? That's part of that assessment that you have to do. All right, so we have the R, we're going to review. We have the E, we evaluate. We evaluate what works, what doesn't work, who needs to stay, who needs to go, where do I need to go, where do I need to be? And then the A, we actually assess our current status, assess our current state. Our current state of mind even is really powerful in this process, because you might need to spend some time working in that space before you can actually grow in another space. Your mindset is important. And I'll tell you a super secret, especially for entrepreneurs that are out there wanting to start a business, involved in the business, and they're saying, if you show me a stuck entrepreneur, I will show you someone that has a mindset that is boggled and confused and cluttered. It's your mind. It's getting your mind right so your money can get tight, which is really key. So let's talk about the L. The L. Uh-oh, something happened in my agenda one. I wasn't trying to create an agenda item. I was trying to show you the last one. Is actually leverage. Leverage. Leverage means to use something to its maximum advantage. What can you leverage to grow? What can you really leverage to grow, to get to your next greater in your life? What can you use right now that you have access to be able to get you to the next? Okay, that lever, that to catapult you. One is truly, honestly, what does your network look like? What is your social network, your professional network, your spiritual network? What does it look like? How are you leveraging your networks to get to your next greater? Isn't that the purpose? And if you're stuck and you really don't know, then you definitely, again, I got all kinds of tips and tricks and treats for you today, because I'm doing a masterclass this evening at 5:00, The Power of Networking. And I'm talking about 5 strategies to help you network your way to the corner office. And that corner office is just representative of our next, because as business individuals, we see that corner office as having arrived, but there's more to it than that. So really networking your way to your next greater. And you can actually go and register for that at focusfierceformula.com. It is tonight at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It is absolutely free masterclass. And I'd love to share some strategies with you to help you leverage. Because as you're making your plan to get to your next greater, as you're making your plan to actually get involved with the greatness thereof, what's waiting for you in 2018, how are you going to do that? It's a combination of things. It's actions that you have to take. It's not just wishing, and it's not just gluing things. So, thanks, Janae. So these are awesome tips. And that sight without vision is dead. Right. And this Real Guide is a great tool. Yes, it actually is. Is that as you're taking your steps and you're planning, you do need to plan. Okay. Your vision board is just a visual manifestation of what you have planned. Now, I'll tell you what, if you do vision boarding with me, we take it to a whole nother level because we actually revisit the vision board. I actually do interactive vision boards, and I do an extensive one-day intensive of really creating an interactive vision board, whereas we look at our quarterly goals and we have to begin to say what we need to change and shift because we got to always be in an assessment mode. So we do have things like I showed you. This was my big overarching vision board, okay, that I had on there. And I have a race for every pace. And that means that you got to run your own race. Quit looking at other people. Quit looking at other people to make the decisions for you and have all your answers for you. You got to start figuring out. Now, you can leverage, like I said, the knowledge and the skills and abilities of those in your tribe. And if you are the smartest person in your tribe, go find a new tribe. Go find a new tribe. Is that you need to be in a space where you can be up leveled. And if you're always surrounding yourself with people, now, again, I say the disclaimer, I'm not saying that people that don't have and are not super smart can't hang with you. But when we talk about our primary tribe, do you realize you're the sum total of the 10 people you hang around with the most, you spend the most time with? Kids excluded. Okay. So if you're hanging out with 4s, what is your average? So you might need to look at how to leverage. And if you don't have anyone in your group that you can leverage or who can actually upgrade you, like Beyonce said, a little purple label, then go find a new tribe, or you might need to network. And you definitely need to sign up for the Power of Intention, the Power of Networking masterclass tonight to say how to do that, how to use different social media to network, how to find the right places to network, how to create the right I hate to call them elevator pitches. I say kill the elevator pitch because truly and honestly, people need you to show up authentically. So all of those things I'm going to talk about in the masterclass tonight. But all of that is part of the journey to get to your next greater. Part of that is if you have a real vision for your tomorrow, then you need to get on the road today. And it's not too late. And people say, well, if you fail to plan to fail. Absolutely not. If you fail to plan, you're just gonna have to work a little harder to get there. Because I told you, I do not accept the no. It's an I can, I will attitude. And are you willing to go to the mat? And if you're not willing to go the extra distance in the mat for yourself, how can you ask anybody else to do? And if you're looking to upgrade and up level in your business, in your life, then guess what? Now is the time to do that. And it starts now. So Janae said, let me go to chat with her. She said, I personally haven't created a vision board since last year because the one I made was just thrown together. This broke it all down. I just never knew how to really get into it and make it mean something because I knew there was more to that cutting it picks. Yes, there is more to it. And that's what a lot of people are missing. I thought when I'm starting to see all these have a vision board party and I want to do this and blah, 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 blah out there, I'm looking at people going, but do you really put the thought into it? And so Janae, because I was just I'm really thinking I have a lot of people want to do a Skype Live. I believe I'm going to schedule a virtual vision board party. So I'll do some things. I'll have a registration piece and tell you some things that you need to gather and do. And then we will do it live and I'll take you through the process and coaching and putting together your own very vision board to do that. I've gotten a lot of people who are not local in Southern California who say, I want to participate. I want to do a vision board party with you, or there might be outside the area. So I'm really, really looking at actually creating the virtual vision board party for those of you that are outside in other areas and take you through the coaching process and take you through the step-by-step to creating your vision board. And I'll have you register because prior to that day, there are some things that you're going to need to do and to collect to maximize that time that we have together. So if that is something that you think that you would be interested in participating in, please, if you're watching this on the replay, which many people will, then drop that in the comments and say, yes, virtual vision board virtual vision board party. I'm in, and I will actually put that together. And I'm not waiting to the end of December to do that because, again, you get really busy. I actually would love to maybe I'll do the virtual vision board party before Thanksgiving, before people go spend all their money at these Black Friday sales, etc. Is that because I'm telling you what, is that people, they go out there, they spend tons of money and for Christmas or for all this other types of stuff and these Black Friday sales, which actually start after Thanksgiving, but yet they didn't really look at how are they going to live for the rest of the year? How are they going to plan for 2018? What are they pouring into themselves and their business to grow? Because they're only thinking of the right now, the moment. So I'm really up. Janae says virtual vision party. So I'm going to look at the schedule and put something together and that, invite your friends. You can sit in the comfort of your own home and we're going to have a virtual champagne vision board party too. So you can have your apple cider, you can have your champagne, you can have whatever you need. But I really want to take you through this process because I know that it can actually help you grow to your next grader. So I just wanted to actually come on really briefly. I actually spent a little bit more time than I planned to really cover just the keys, so really the real part of the vision board. So I'm going to quickly go back over those again. So the very first thing that we have to do is to review. Take stock. What are your pluses? What are your opportunities for growth? What are your minuses? What are those things that you actually need to do, okay, to get to your next grader? Really review it and say, I got this. I had these wins this year. I got my director pen. I'm growing my business. I've added X amount of people to my team. For those of you that are social marketers or that in the corporate space, I got a promotion or I got a recognition for that. But then there was my opportunities for growth where, man, I missed the mark in setting some deadlines for myself to achieve, or I missed the mark in playing time. Now, here's a big one. Especially ladies, the self-care piece. The self-care piece. Do you plan to care about you? And if you're not, why not? That should be a part of it as well. How are you feeding and pouring back into yourself? How are you scheduling me time so that you can grow? And what I like to say is that I have to focus on the me so I'm better for the we. I can't do what I need to do for everybody else if I'm not doing for me. And trust me, I have almost burnt myself to a frying crisp. And I've just literally been pulling myself back out of it because I've been there. That's why I know I've been there. I still fight that, So because I care about you, I have to start caring more about me. So those of us with families, those of us with significant others, those of us with friends and bomb tribes, we still have to make some time for us and make sure that our needs are being met as well. And so you got to plan for that. So take a real close review, okay, for your pluses and your opportunities for growth. Then you're going to evaluate. You're going to evaluate what worked. You're going to evaluate what needs to be cleared out. You can declutter your mind. Download the guide. It is powerful. I'll drop it in the chat because that guide is amazing. Okay. Is that also this one? I'm telling y'all, if I'm not talking to y'all in 2018 too much, then you part of the what needed to be shifted because I need to get to the next grader. And for some reason, our alignment is not there. And that's okay. It means I still love you, but I'm going to love you from afar. Okay. So again, decide who needs to stay in your life and who needs to go for you to be able to grow. What's holding you back? Sometimes it's connection to people, places, and things. And also ideas. So what needs to go? Because we're getting ready to set the vision on fire. We're about to get it popped out. We're going to get focused and fierce about our tomorrow. We're going to get focused and fierce now about where we're growing to. And we're going to get focused and fierce because I'm telling you, the very first step is activating your GPS. And that's the first phase in my focus and fierce formula is activating your GPS and getting very clear about that. But to get clear, you got to clear out a lot of the clutter, okay? And the things you think you needed and that you really don't. They're not doing anything to add value to you. So you can download the Declutter Your Mind guide at bit.ly Focus Fierce Formula 1 if you would like that guide to help you. It's free and it's a wonderful tool and you can share it, tell anyone else to kind of go there and download the guide as well. It's a great guide. The next thing that we're going to do is assess because we're getting really real. We're going to assess your current abilities. What are your current gifts? What are your current levels of understanding with a clear and honest lens? Now, I haven't been able to run in probably almost a year and a half, 2 years. Last year, it was crazy that I actually went and I did the Temecula Divas Marathon half, and I hadn't ran because I had some injuries, whatever else, and I signed up for the half and I didn't train. OMG, I was in toe up shape. Now I finished the half, but woe is me, it was rough, and I was in a lot of pain. I injured my foot. I did more probably damage than good, but I knew I can do it. I still persevered through it, but OMG. Okay. So again, I had to assess and realize that I'm not there anymore. I have to go back and build back up, that I actually need to spend some time. I might need to, get a running trainer or someone to help motivate me in that space, but get an honest lens. Look at where you're at with an honest lens, and then look at and decide how are you going to fill those gaps, whether it's a mentor, whether it's a coach. And sometimes you have to pay for those things. You just do. Okay. You get what you pay for. If you're always searching for the free, then guess what? How are you valuing yourself? So you're worth it. And sometimes you just got to pay to get to really get everything and all the goodies. And there's a lot of great free stuff out there, and there's some great tips and news, but you cannot survive off of free samples. Can you try to feed your whole entire family off of the Costco free samples? Well, some of us might try to be there in a long time, but you would have to it's going to take you so much longer to get there. And your time is so valuable. So as we're getting real, we're going to review, we're going to evaluate, we're going to assess, and then what we're truly honest, we're going to leverage. We're going to leverage our networks. We're going to leverage what we know, who we know, and how to get there so that we can move forward. Leveraging is using something to its maximum advantage. And one of the most powerful things you could do is to leverage your network. And I'll tell you from experience is that I'm a giver and I'm always out doing different things and supporting different people. And I had one particular person come and say, well, what can I do for you? And I said, well, I don't quite know yet, but when I know, I'll let you know. And so now I spent a lot of time doing these things, getting real. And so now when they ask me, they say, Dina, what do you need? I said, oh, I need this. And so now I go to them and I say, this is what I need. Can you help me out? Who do you know? Who do you know to help me do X, Y, and Z? How can I get to blah, blah, blah? And I'm like, oh, no problem. What can I do? Okay. And for a while you think, oh, I'm not going to ask. I'm not going to leverage. Again, if you put in the time authentically, that's why networking is so important. That's why I talk about it so much. Is that if you are an authentic networker and strategic and you show up to serve, show up to give, not to get. When is your time? And when it's time to ask, people will be there for you. So again, I just wanted to pop in this morning. It was my Monday motivation for you to get real about your vision, get real about your tomorrow. And if you can do me a favor, can you do me a favor? Share this video. Share this video with someone that really, if you hear anyone says, oh, I want to do a vision board, share this video. If you hear anyone says that I'm going to go to vision boarding party, I'm going to host one, share this video. If you hear anyone who's just kind of really stuck and they're like, next year is going to be my year, but yet they're not making any moves to plan or strategically look at how to make it their year, tag them for this video. And if you just want to bless somebody, because this is some awesome information and some great tips, this is a freebie that you want to give away and that you want to make sure that you share with others that you love. So it has been wonderful sharing with you. Again, I am Dr. Dina Marie, affectionately known as the Millennial Whisperer and the Catalyst by my clients. You have an amazing Monday. Bye-bye.